Alright farmers, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be having a look at the third set of fact sheets released by Giants for Farming Simulator 22. So let's jump into the first one. Now on this we've got a Forage Harvester from Fendt, the Katana 650. It's going to cost you 395 grand to buy. It's got 650 horsepower, it's got the CVT gearbox, 1225 litre fuel tank, runs at 40 km an hour, 24 mile an hour, and it weighs 15.7 tons. Now with the icons on there, it's going to do cut grass, wood chip and chopped sugar beet. So the question that leads to is it going to be able to cut the grass for you instead of a mower? And what's the crack with the wood chip? Are you going to be able to chop trees down with it? Or is it going to be able to pick wood chips up? I don't know. That's an interesting one to find out when it all gets released on the 22nd of November. But Fendt obviously been in the game for a long time. This is their Forage Harvester from them. So very nice indeed. Now on the front of that we've got the Kemper header, the 375 plus. It's going to cost you 100 grand to buy. It requires 650 horsepower to run. It weighs 3.3 ton. It's got a working width of 7.5 meters and a working speed of 10 km an hour or 6 mile an hour. Now that's going to forage harvest if you're whole cropping wheat, barley, oats, canola, soybean and corn, and it's also got grass there. So that mixed with the Fendt Katana, I would say looks like you may be able to cut the grass with it, which would be something different. You know, you got a usual mower setup, something else you might want to have a look at when you're playing. So that's those two, the harvester and the header. So we'll move on to the next one. Now we've got the John Deere 7810 tractor. It looks like it's on the rather small size, 99.5 grand to buy, 175 horsepower. Now this has got a manual and a power shift gearbox. Now all the other ones we've seen so far have got a specific gearbox on them. Now this has got the two options, so we'll see how that's going to play out in your gameplay once it all gets released. It's 344 litre fuel tank, runs at 40 km or 24 mile an hour, and it weighs 7.5 ton. Now John Deere obviously they first came into the game, properly came into the game in Simulator 19, apart from mods that have been out for a while. So this is a continuation of the brand in the game, and this is an older style tractor. You've got the design cue, shall we say, more of the square frontage on it, older than the current ones that we have, which are more streamlined, more aerodynamic for a tractor, if you can get an aerodynamic tractor. So yeah, older style if you want to go down that route with your role play. Then on the back of that you can't really see, but you've got a planter, the Amazon Pressia 4500-2C Super, 49.5 grand, requires 150 horsepower to run. It's got a 1580 litre tank, weighs 2.3 tons, 4.5 metre working width, and it will run at 16 kilometers or 9 mile an hour. Now this is a planter and a fertilizer at the same time, so you can seed, you can fertilize all in one go, so you haven't got to come back over with a fertilizer afterwards. If you're a bit short on time, you know, load it up, get it done all in one. So that does take the solid fertilizer rather than the liquid fertilizer. And with that you can plant soybean, corn, sunflower, sugar beet and cotton. So that's a nice little planter. It's on the small side, so if you're on a small farm with small fields and not a lot of room to work with, that's a nice little addition. So on to the third sheet for today. We've got the Planet, or the Plan ET, however you want to pronounce it, Biogas Plant. Now this is going to be a placeable. Obviously biogas plants have been in the game for a while, so this is nothing new, so to speak. But what is new about this is what it produces from the outcome. You know, you put in your silage, you can put in manure and slurry, and you can also put in chopped sugar beet with this, and you'll get out electric. And there's some sort of gas bottle symbol there, which hasn't come out on any of the icon sheets yet, and you also get the standard digest date. So we'll see what that comes up with when the game gets released. Obviously we've seen the electric telehandler already, so you can put stuff into the biogas plant, get some electric out for your telehandler. But that gas one is very interesting. What gas is it going to produce, and what's going to be using it? So we'll see if anything else comes out of that. It's 435 grand to buy. It doesn't say how big it is though, but you know, it's a placeable, it's a biogas plant, so it's not going to be small on a footprint, so you are going to need some decent size area, and I'd imagine a flattish area as well to get that all put down. So we'll see what happens with that. And then in front of that, loading in, we've got the Schaefer 9660 T2 telehandler, 130 grand to buy, 177 to 204 horsepower, CVT gearbox, 185 litre fuel tank, runs at 30 kilometre an hour or 18 mile an hour, and weighs 2.5 tons. Now this compared to the electric telehandler, obviously this has got a bit more power, so it's going to be on the bigger side, so you're going to be able to have bigger buckets on the front, bigger implements you can be able to do with it, so you can be able to get things done quicker. Obviously bigger the size, bigger the price. But obviously, you know, you just got to play your game. You know, if you've got the money to go for the bigger ones, then, you know, go for it. If you want to stay with the smaller ones, that's entirely up to you. That's the best thing about this game. There's lots of options, so you can play the game how you want to play it. So that's those two. And moving on to the last fact sheet for today, we got the versatile 4-wheel drive tractor, 352 grand to buy, 580 to 665 horsepower. It's got the power shift gearbox, it's got 1298 litre fuel tank, it will run at 40 km an hour or 24 mile an hour, and it weighs 19.1 tonne. Now this is one of those articulated tractors, so it's got a big horsepower output, so you're going to be able to use the big implements on the back. So if you're on a farm that's got massive fields, you can get, you know, your big ploughers, your big planters, seeders, cultivators, whatever you're using, you can get some really big machinery on the go, because this has got the power behind it to pull them all, which is what you're always going to need. And on the picture there you can see that it's got the setup with the dual wheels all round, so I'd imagine from that there's going to be a few options when you come to buy it. And on the back of that you got the Russell Mash cultivator, the K12200, which is 101 grand to buy, requires 375 horsepower to run it, 9.2 tonne weight. It's got a working width of 12.2 meters, and it will run at 15 km an hour or 9 mile an hour. So as I say, you know, with the big tractor that you got up the front, you can then run, you know, like a 12-meter cultivator behind it. You know, the bigger the tractor, the bigger the implements you can use. But also, you know, you need to have a decent amount of space to be using them. You can't use it on a small field. You're just going to get stuck on hedges or caught on fences or whatever. So, you know, if you're on a big farm, crack out the big boys, you know, and off you go. Get it done a lot quicker. So that's rather good. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pop up the icon symbols, the new for the 22 game. Obviously, as I said before, you know, it's a bit different on the artwork, a bit more colourful, and obviously there's a few different ones that we haven't had in 19. So get your head around them, get used to them, so as soon as anything pops up you'll say, oh yeah, that's this or that's that, so you know what you're dealing with. And also a reminder that you've got the pre-order for the Class Zarian pack. You get the manure spreader and you get the tractor on the front, so you get that if you pre-order as a bonus. So obviously pre-order before the game's released and you'll get that as well. And they're also doing the year 1 season pass. Now still nothing's been released about what's in the first, second, third or the expansion at the moment, so we'll see what comes out in the future on that. But you can buy that as a pre-order or you can buy the game on its own. Either way that you go, you still get the Class Zarian as a bonus if you pre-order. And that is it for the day. Just a reminder that it's coming out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PC and Google Stadia. Now it comes out on the 22nd of November, so it's not that long to be waiting in the grander scheme of things. So not much longer to wait. Now I'm going to end it here. So if you like the video, give us a like. If you want to see more content, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.